But we do have some more news about Maradona, plus the other icons, well, one other icon, plus the heroes that are possibly on the way that are the weirdest leaks of the year. And despite us getting more news about it, I think we are no closer to actually knowing if they're actually coming out or not, but we'll talk about that. If you guys would like to buy coins, you can go to MMOXP.com. There will be a link in the description. They are the cheapest and safest option. You can use my code JFC at checkout for a 5% discount. We have a couple of SBCs that we have not seen yet. Is it buy time potentially? That's what we talked about, I think, over the course of the last week. You know, today might be that buy time. Is it shaping up to actually be that way? I also uploaded a video on my second channel highlighting some tips post-patch that I think you guys might find useful, and I'm gonna make a huge, like, really long video about a lot of tips on this channel over the coming week. I think it might be like 3 days from now, I want to say. And also kind of a topic that's been circulating over the last maybe 2-3 days since this new Team of the Year Evolution release has been an extinct player problem. Is this really an issue right now? If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, there are so many cards that fit into this Team of the Year Blueprint Evo that are extinct. 80%, 90% of like the top tier cards are not possible to get, especially if you're on PC. I spent today trying to get Trailblazers Dennis Mann for I think an hour or so. I saw one get listed, and if you're not on the web app / using Pale Tools, then it's probably like useless to even really try to snipe these guys. So it kind of sparks a little bit of a debate, as in like, is this really even a bad thing, or is there some sort of way that EA could go about possibly making this easier for people to get better cards or get the cards that they want to put in this evolution, right? Because obviously, in my personal opinion, evolutions shouldn't just be the, oh yeah, pick the most meta card you can possibly create and then put that in no matter how much fun you have or know the player or whatever like that, right? I don't even personally think Evo should be only done that way, but if you want to play the game that way, you should have the choice to, and I think that people just cannot buy the cards they want to right now. So it really does go both ways. I have his Informed Tennis Man, by the way, who's like 95% as good as the Trailblazers, but the Trailblazers one is slightly better. And the reason I wanted this card was because he has Incisive Pass for one of these wingers, and they don't really have Incisive Pass a lot of the time. Like him and Elise are the two top guys. I already have an Evo Elise. I've used Elise a lot. I want to try somebody different. And what you also want to do is reward people possibly for holding on to cards, right? If you pack a Trailblazers Dennis Mann back 3 months ago and you hold on to him this whole time for an Evo, like should you be rewarded for that, right? There's a lot of different ways to think about it that I don't really know what the right way to go about it is if you're EA, but what do you guys think really should be the best way? Because if you are trying to go buy a certain card in the market right now, especially if you are on PC, you're just not going to. It's really simple as that. Like you can try, and if you don't have Pale Tools, you can really try, but for the most part here, you could spend an hour, 2 hours straight seeing 2 pop up on PC, and you're just not going to get one probably if you're not on the Pale Tools. So really tough to say, but anyway, let's move on here to another topic of discussion that I saw on Reddit actually today. Was EA are releasing SBCs right now that have 1 playstyle plus. Marquinhos came out with 1 playstyle plus, and this does make you wonder about kind of the gap in cards right now, because there are cards being released with 3 and there are cards being released with 1 still, and that was not a thing we saw last year in the first year of playstyle. So is it not that deep, or is this creating like a big imbalance in teams? Maybe if you have Team of the Year cards, they're already, you know, way better stats and 3 playstyle pluses, whereas you could put Marquinhos in your team, or let's just say another attacker here, Jairzinho, right, 1 playstyle plus, or Lota Shaline, 1 playstyle plus. I mean, know how important playstyles can be. So just another topic of conversation that's like just something different right now that maybe you could potentially see as like going down a bad path here eventually, but there's really just no way to know until I guess further down the line here. But okay, on to our Maradona and other icon news. We got Maradona's description added to the web app. I believe what he means by that is the web app code, I believe. Maybe this could be a sign of him being added back soon, or he will be like Di Stefano, added to the game for a few years but never actually become available. The card is just a prediction, but here is sort of that description of Diego Maradona there that he would have on his icon card, right? So this description right here, I do not know if that's literally a copy paste from FIFA 22, the last game he was in, or FIFA 20. Was it FIFA 22? I think. Yeah, I think it was. I looked everywhere. I couldn't find what his icon profile looked like, so I don't know if this is different or if it's the exact same. The point is here that this was added. So like, this is why I said we have more news about this, but what do we make of it? I don't know, because we didn't get any other icon profile or a new one for Franz Beckenbauer, right? We didn't see one of those, but we saw for Maradona. Now we talked up here about Di Stefano. If you guys don't know, Di Stefano was added into like the web app code. I want to say FIFA 21, something like that. Could have been 22. I think it was 21. He was added to the code. We got an icon profile for him. He was literally, you could search him him up on like the transfer market, and you wouldn't see any obviously, but you could see his name on there, and he just never showed up in the game ever. So there's obviously that chance that he just literally never comes out. But it's weird because we got these random leaks a week ago or whatever, however long ago it was. Now we have his literal profile added into the game. So you would expect, if like those two things obviously would not just be coincidence and we'd see him back to back, you would expect that there to have been some smoke to the fire then of the Maradona coming into the game. But then why wouldn't we see a Beckenbauer profile? If Ibarbo and them are heroes, nothing about them obviously. So it's strange. There's no real like way, I guess, to interpret this other than like, hey, we have more information about this, but does it help us gather any sort of clues that these are going to come out anytime soon? Probably not. But FIFA U Team, who he doesn't really have leaks usually, but he's like a really big news source on FIFA and stuff. He says 100% will be introduced in the game, but it may be later. So I don't know what that means. I don't know how he knows this, but apparently he thinks that it's going to 100% happen. It's just going to be later, or at least it may be later, right? I don't know. Moving on, we got some Evo news, and that was FUT Agent saying a lot of fake news with evolutions, ... Team of the Year Evos equals 87 rated max. So we're going to constantly see, looks like 87 rated Evos max here. I think he's calling out FUT Marshall. We saw him, I think, in the last video or 2 videos ago. I want to say we saw FUT Marshall, and I think he's calling him out here. FUT Marshall has more leaks, by the way. I think it was another bronze, like Team of the Year upgrade leak that he had, and it's just bullshit. But it does look like EA more than last year are going off of like a genuine overall schedule almost. Like hey, right now, 87 rated until this date, then we'll go 88, then we'll go 89. Like it feels like it's really sort of locked right now at that 87 rating, which what do you guys think about that? If that's bad, if that's good? There was also a problem with the Team of the Year 12th man voting. If you're wondering why on graphics, you'll see vote in game now, and you're like, what? How do I vote? Well, there's actually a problem with it, and it's been delayed. So keep that in mind here. I mean, once again, had some just nonsense price ranges. This Wrighton card is, the max price is 750,000 coins. Seeing this type of stuff, it also does make you wonder if a computer algorithm just does these and it makes mistakes like this, because how does a human like who is familiar with how this game works and market prices at all make this price range? I mean, it doesn't make any sense unless somebody forgot a zero. It was supposed to be 7.5 mil, but then also this wouldn't be 40k minimum. So unless they forgot 2 zeros on both sets or both sides of the price range, I don't know. It just makes you wonder who's making these up, or if it's not anybody making these up and it's a computer algorithm that just fucks up sometimes. I don't know. And also, guys, if the schedule follows suit on what we expect it to, league upgrades should be coming out today. The specific league upgrades that we are downgraded actually this year by 1 rare card, but we'll see if the requirements are any different. They were 4 rares last year, now 3 this year. At least that's how the pack code's been leaked, so we will wait and see if it's going to be 11 rares or if it'll be maybe 9 rares or something like that. I don't know, but this kind of leads into like, have you guys packed a Team of the Year yet? You know, how's the pack weight been looking? Obviously, we're going to open, a shit ton of packs on Friday and on Saturday, really, when we get there. But yeah, I feel like Team of the Year really begins when we get league upgrades. If like that's kind of like the time when it feels like Team of the Year, except, I mean, the past couple of years, league upgrades have been just awful. I mean, you can't pack these cards, but we can only hope. Okay, on to the market. Is it is today the buy time, right? Sunday sell-off we talked about might be a good time to buy. I think that it probably is not a bad time right now to look at buying stuff. I think that the only way it ends up kind of really fucking you over is if another Team of the Year blueprint type Evo comes out. If that happens, then you are just screwed. If whatever position that came out was, you're screwed on whatever card that was. But in general, the market is actually not dying like you maybe would expect it to, which maybe you could, I guess, make the argument that like, oh, it's going to go down more. I think we're going to see a lot of coin injection. I really do. I think that last year, the perfect buy time on pretty much all cards was today. That was the perfect time last year. I think with better Evos, it might be a little bit different in terms of like, you won't expect the huge rise we saw last year maybe, but today's not a bad time to buy stuff. You just have to hope that there's not an Evo that drops that's that position of a card, because it's gonna die. There's nothing you can do about that. Now also, there was a pump and dump today. Massive pump and dump. Okay, that Cam Evo was leaked, I think like 6 hours before the Evo actually dropped, right? It was a Cam Evo, so Yaya Toure can play Cam. The only requirements we knew was Cam max 87. Only thing we knew. Look where Yaya Toure's price went to. 250 up to 380 when this leak was really in its prime. Now back down again to 230. So This, I mean, people were selling right here. You know, people were making just absolute bank off of chumps buying at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., which is like a couple hours before content time, right? Pump and dumps are just constant, and it's just kind of funny seeing that. Don't go buy shit off of leaks. It almost never works. By the time you're seeing the leak, it's probably too late. But yeah, long story short here, a team of the year cards, you want to buy a team of the year card, I actually think that you probably want to buy like the very first day, first hour after the full team of the year drops would be a really good time to me. There's actually a chance that right now is the lowest point on like all of these cards that are out already. I wouldn't take that risk though. I'm definitely good with waiting to buy team of the year cards if you want to buy them until the full team comes out on Friday, or that Thursday. Sorry, not Friday, it's Thursday, and maybe like an hour after or something like that. Maybe after that second group of lightning rounds, maybe. But yeah, okay, let's read your comments now from the second channel. Actually, we've got Person who says Arcade Football Simulator is back with a new patch. Looks like Super Mario Smash Football. And I totally understand that people wouldn't like that the faster pace may seem unrealistic. It may seem like it is a bit more on the this isn't the game I love side, right? But honestly, a video game to me, what matters far more is fun. I know it's just my opinion here, but if the game is slightly faster, more responsive, and it's just in general a more enjoyable time, even if it's slightly less so real life football, I think that's worth the sacrifice to me. I think that if we had the game identical to real life football, we wouldn't like it at all. I genuinely don't think we would, but I do think there should be that balance, of course, because you need elements of it. You need mostly real life football elements. I mean, don't get me wrong, you definitely do. But like deflections, right? I'd rather them code tackles and deflections in ways that were rewarding and made sense for the game than just like, yeah, it's pure randomness. Like there's things like that I would say is just better for the health of the game, and I think the user enjoyment if you make it less realistic. And Rob Futt saying like, you know, I'm still winning a ton of 1-0 and 2-1 games. It's a little easier to score, but it's not as extreme as some may think. All it did was allow you to pass easier and make the middle less congested. Needed, but much of the game actually is the same, like tacklebacks and folks lunging with defenders from 2 meters away and winning while you miss a clear tackle from an inch away. And I think that's actually very true. People have been saying I win or lose every game like 9-6. I'm like, my weekend league, I had maybe a couple of games that were like shootouts, like 7-4, right? Or 6-3. You know, I had a couple games like that, but most of my games were 3-2 or 4-1 or 3-1 or 2-0. Like most games were kind of along the same lines as they usually were. There were in general more goals, but I don't think it maybe was, yeah, I'm scoring 15 goals a game. Like I don't think it quite was as drastic as that. And MC Hammer says the gameplay for the last 2 days is horrible on PS5, almost unplayable. And I got some comments asking like, hey, why does your stuff seem so smooth? Part of that's because like I'm on PC and the frame rate is better, so it's like a constant 60 you'll see on the screen, and also on my screen it's like constant 150 or whatever it is. And on PS5 this game is so unoptimized. It's so bad on PS5. I'm just so sorry if you play on PS5 or on Xbox. I mean, it just is not suitable for console at all. If you want the best gameplay experience, just spend $1,000. It's not too much to ask for, guys. I don't know. It's ridiculous how bad it is on console. I play COD on console and PC, and apart from the frame rate, not that much different. And even that game is not very optimized either. So you have like, let alone a game that is optimized on console, which I can't think of one off the top of my head, but there are games that are very optimized for console. COD, it feels like it's super optimized when that game isn't even that optimized. So I don't know. Console players, I'm sorry. I think part of why I went 15-0 post patch and like my weekend leagues have been really good on PCs because I am probably at an advantage. I'm probably literally at an advantage, but I don't know. Okay. Hey, thank you all for being here. Appreciate you all so much. Love you all.